What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Check Swing Podcast. It is Wednesday. I told y'all last week we wasn't going to be on Tuesday. Told y'all. So I'm glad you're here with us on a Wednesday. It is May 28th, and it is 8:01 p.m. on the East. That's how you know we are live. I got it exactly right. But we got a show we put together for y'all today, and also with a special guest today, so you definitely want to stick around. And for all that we're going to be talking about and bringing to you. But first, like I do every show, I like to ask my people how they've been. But first, let me introduce them because I didn't do that part yet. It's the Check Swing Podcast with myself and, of course, the brains and brawn of the situation, Coach Santa. Coach Santa, how you been?
The rain sucks, and it sucks to have arthritis because that sucks too. And it's been raining for the past 22 hours in Baltimore. Was supposed to be at practice tonight, and I had to call it. Drove by the field this morning, and yeah, it was a plethora, a river of rain.
I believe it. I believe it. I tell you what. That is one of the things I do not miss about coaching is having to figure out whether or not to call the practice because of the rain or whatever the case may be. I don't miss that part at all. That is one of the parts that is just like, unless it's a downpour, people want to play. We all want to play, but we have to make the decision that's best for everyone involved. And sometimes that is to say, we got to be inside today. We can't go today, whatever the case may be.
Do you remember that game you played at MSI where it was under a steady rain?
Vaguely, yeah. I mean, yeah. Actually, yes, I do remember. Very, very much.
Because I remembered all of a sudden it was a butt fest, and I remember all the material getting in like all of my clothes and unmentionables.
That was your last game, wasn't it? I think that was your last game with MSI because we came back to play the next day and you couldn't be there. You were like moving or something that day. And I had the guys that day.
No, I was working that day. That's what it was.
Is that what it was? You work? Okay. So yeah, we had we got beat pretty good by that team from Westchester or whatever it was. Not the Dragons, but the other team. And I do remember that. And the bunts were like the most perfect bunts ever. Like they would just go down and just die.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, 1 or 2 bunts, okay, but after the 7th bunt, we should have this down by now. But
well, when we do the show, right, we always have our feelings about how the local teams are doing. You know, I always say for baseball, holla at me after the All-Star break. That's when I, really get my feeling in. The Phillies have been up and down and up this year. But right now it's like they look like they're in a groove. I mean, they did play like two of the worst teams in professional baseball for about a week. But even before that, they were playing well, and they won last night against the Braves. So Miguel,
sure.
What have not the Eagles? What have the Phillies been doing, and can they keep this pace of play up, or was it because they were playing some teams that just were not good?
It's kind of a combination of them all. They're beating the teams that they're supposed to beat. That's just the bottom line. You know what I mean? Aaron Nola is not pitching just by happenstance. So, he's 0-6 right now, and he's out with a quote-unquote ankle injury. whatever. He's not a cold weather pitcher. And I called this in the beginning of the year. We know what he is. He sucks in the beginning. He's lights out when it's hot, and he sucks at the end. I don't know what the surprise is. But the one thing I will say that the biggest change that I've seen is their patience at the plate. Like even the game last night, I think they had the bases loaded a couple times, and then one time they actually walked in a run. But they're seeing the baseball better than I've seen in years. They're not swinging at bad pitches. Trey Turner's starting to come around with his power. He was focused on his contact, but he's made a couple of changes power-wise. He's starting to hit. It's coming together, I think. Ranger Suarez is, I think he pitched 6-7 scoreless last night. And freaking Romano, who his ERA was like 12, is now looking like the closer that he did a couple years ago in Toronto. So he's starting to, bring it together. So it was, those are kind of the combination of things. But baseball's a long season, and May or June, you start to see, okay, what about these injuries or potential injuries, and Aaron Nola's addition by subtraction, in my humble opinion.
And they get quite a few injuries for the due to the season being so long. And it's not a contact sport per se. It's not supposed to be a contact sport. The injuries usually come more so with the contact sports: football, basketball, soccer, hockey, those type of sports. And people do get through baseball seasons just like football and basketball seasons without getting hurt. But one of the key things, just for the people that may not be in the know, one key things to getting through the playoffs and getting to a championship is health. And that's in any sport too. You got to be healthy. But in baseball, you definitely got to be healthy, because really in baseball, back me on this, Miguel, if I'm correct, you have your starting 9, and you have 4 or 5 guys on the bench. But if you have to play all those 4 or 5 guys on the bench and to start them in the playoffs, you're not going to win. You can win.
Yeah.
But you tend to maybe not win a playoff series.
Yeah, I guess you could. But then it's like, well, what was the excuse for the Phillies losing last year?
What's the what?
Was that the excuse? Was that the excuse for the Phillies last year?
No. I make no excuse. Personally, I make no excuse for the Phillies last year. They were one of those teams last year. Look, they started off hot.
Mm-hmm.
They started off hot, got cold after the break, but played 500 ball after the break. And they were one of them teams that they were good, and then they were not. They were good, and then they were not. And once they got to the playoffs, they were just not good. They did not play well in the playoffs. The bats failed them. Pitching tried to hold on, but the bats failed them. And the bullpen was strong last year. And it happens quite a bit with this team. The bats will fail them quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a bit. But right now, the bats are pretty hot right now. Pretty hot right now.
And they're leading by 2 in the National League East against the Mets.
Last night in the game, Bryce Harper was plunked, right? Miguel, I still have not seen the footage of this, but he got plunked. And
the footage is in the thing.
And so I can put it up now?
Yep.
Okay.
And that's in that surgically repaired elbow too.
He's in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Joe Roush is out quickly. I didn't see where it actually hit him, John.
It looked like it hit him in the elbow. Yeah, right there in that right elbow. That the one he had fixed.
Carl said 95 miles an hour on that.
Right.
Yeah, there's not a lot of meat there, Tom.
No.
Yeah, that's right in the meat part.
Oh, they're going to take him out.
Oh, man, that's awful.
So the question I've been hearing all day from early this morning, they didn't last night, but should the Phillies retaliate? There was a close game last night. Retaliation could have really just bit them in the behind. They're not playing tonight, so the question had been, should the Phillies retaliate tonight? Tomorrow they will play, I believe, a double tomorrow. Doggone cameras over here moving. Sorry about that. Miguel, I feel like I already know what you're going to say, Miguel, but because I know you, we coached together for years. Should they retaliate? How should they do it?
That should just be the original question. How should they do it? Don't even ask the other question.
Because the obvious question is, obvious answer for you is they should retaliate.
Only logical response to this is to go right at Acuna, right at the legs.
Because he just came off the knee injury.
Right. And we know that there's a little bit of butthurt from the Braves from a couple years ago and, stuff like that. So I think that's the only logical thing. Because the other thing is, we've had a lot of success against Strider. We beat him again last night. So it's like, was that intentional? You know what I mean? And it's the unwritten rule in baseball where, you hurt one of our players, then we're gonna come at you. There's always that, aspect. It's just different though today. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have the same like fire, and I think personally it's because these men don't actually know how to fight. Personally, it's like when you see a basketball fight and they're all swinging like girls. You know what I mean? It's like they don't want to be embarrassed, so it's just a whole bunch of talking and joshing. But I think if the game gets out of hand in one way or the other, I think you're going to see somebody get hit, and I would think if you're going to do it strategically, not on purpose, then I would target Acuna.
So you're saying, like, it sounds like you're kind of saying, don't do it early.
Yeah, because you could do it early, but I think a lot of teams avoid that because then you don't want to get into throwing at people early ejections, and then all of a sudden it turns like a bloodbath, whatever. And you don't want it to turn into like that one brawl in like 1984 where it was like the Padres and the Braves, and there was like 12 ejections and like 4 arrests and all that crap. Although I think that would be personally entertaining. But who am I?
Now let me ask you this. Zach Wheeler was slated to start tonight. Would you have had Zach Wheeler do it, or would you have one of your relievers come in and do it? I have an option as well that I was thinking of, but I'll let you go first.
Not with Wheeler, at least not in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Because umpires are finicky, you know what I mean? Although what you could do is maybe start them in reverse and just start your relievers first and then save Wheeler for like the third inning and get all the ejections out the way.
Well, you want to hear my suggestion?
Absolutely.
Let Taijuan Walker do it. Have him come in and do it.
Touché.
Today was his day to pitch anyway. I was talking to somebody, let me know he literally pitches every 7 days.
Right. Because he's technically the 6th starter / middleman. But he's another pleasant surprise.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think you will see some sort of retaliation before the end of the series.
We have to, because I tell you what, if we don't, then people are going to think the Phillies are soft and they're going to try to take the Phillies' heart.
Yeah, and thankfully the X-rays were negative, so no breaks. Just
If something was broke, they would have had to.
they would have had to. Yeah. Although remember when Blake Snell broke Harper's pinky a couple years ago,
Yes, I do.
and there wasn't any retaliation then.
There wasn't.
And I think, well, because remember how Harper like slammed his helmet and he cussed, and Snell was real quick. He's like, "Yo, it wasn't on purpose. My bad, my bad." He's like, "I know, I know." So, but Strider didn't say nothing. He was just like, doggone it to heck. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
This is the only time I do wish there was no DH.
So you could throw it Strider.
So you can throw a Strider, right? Throw it to his elbow, see how he likes it. Prick.
So our guest is here waiting backstage. He may have to step away for a second. No, he's back. So I want to bring him on now. So we're going to do one of our segments of the show a little earlier today because I guess I took it a little step further. I took a little step further and actually bought in, or I had someone to talk about my shout out. Okay, and to talk about some more stuff as well. So let me get all the graphics ready for my man to come in real quick. I gotta make it look special. All right. So real quick, we got Coach Joe Cuff Wright is in the building. Welcome to the Check Swing Podcast, Coach.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Good. So, Coach, I don't know if you've ever seen our show, but we had just started a segment called Shout Outs, and Coach McGov has given a shout out to some of the people that he has coached, and I haven't given a shout out yet. But as soon as I came across this store, I said, this has got to be my shout out. So while I get this together real quick, because I didn't realize I didn't get it together before the show as we were going through everything. My shout out is a player that you are currently coaching. And you're currently right now, you're coaching, you're an assistant coach with the Penwood High School girls flag football team.
Yep. I'm the offensive coordinator for the team.
The offensive coordinator for the team. He's putting the plays together. He's making it happen out there. And this young lady right here, Samaya Knight, was selected to represent the area. I'm going to just say the area. Her team was the Philadelphia Eagles, but she was representing our area as well as the school and the school district in the Big 33 football game. Now, let me explain something for those that may, and Coach, just tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm explaining it from what I remember from 20 years ago. Okay, so if it's different now, please let me know.
Gotcha.
So the Big 33 football game for the guys was the all-star, the best 33 from Pennsylvania going up against the best 33 from Ohio. And I know it had changed. I think it changed to Maryland at one time, I believe, something like that. But for girls, for the flag football, they take a team from Pittsburgh, a team from Philadelphia, or they name a team Philadelphia Eagles, Pittsburgh Steelers from that area, Baltimore Ravens, and Washington Commanders.
Yep.
And this young lady represented the school and our area, and not only that, she caught the game-winning touchdown.
Sure did.
Caught the game-winning touchdown right there. And then there she is with the coaches. That's Coach Joe. That's Coach doggone it. Forgot her name that fast. Not forgot it, but it just slipped my mind. Giovanna, Coach Giovanna, and Coach Rory. And that's the team right there. And then you have that was the Eagles team holding a trophy right there because they won the tournament. All right, finished with a 3-1 record, and that's the team picture right there before they got into the games and stuff like that. But congratulations to them, congratulations to you, Coach Joe. Why don't you tell us a little bit of something about coaching Samaya and what it's like coaching her and how she has evolved over the last few years with the program?
Yeah, I'm about to say, coaching flag football for girls is a dream, man. I'm a football coach as well, but getting these young ladies involved and how excited they are in the sport because everything is brand new is definitely refreshing as a coach to see and to admire as a sport. It's coming up in the Olympics soon, so we're going to have some other athletes participating in the Olympics for flag football. But Samaya in particular has been a true privilege to coach. From day one, she was super eager. Darcy didn't have her feet under, didn't have her sea legs for football yet. One incident, she actually stepped on the coach's foot during her first season and put him on a cane, but she made up for it by catching the game-winning touchdown this previous weekend.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. And I got to tell you, when I heard about the flag football program coming to Penwood, and I was like, I got to check it out, but I didn't know what to expect. Right? I had no idea what to say. I had a niece that played, what did they call it? Powder puff.
Yeah, the old high school powder puff games. Yeah.
So she played that, and sorry, Mel, I never made it to a game. I was coaching baseball at the time. I'm sorry, I never made it. So I didn't even know what that was like, but I heard that was very competitive. But when I got out there and I was watching the game, I was like, yo, this is fun. Like, this is fun to watch. Like a football game, you go to a football game, you're watching, you're into it. You're having a good time, but it's a different feel with flag. Like I was into it and it was fun at the same time. And like you guys do a great job with that. Miguel, I wanna say something to Coach real quick. I want to get his opinion on it. It's something that we had on the show a few weeks ago. It was Cam Newton. And Miguel, keep me honest here, because if he didn't say it, I'm making it up, but it's still a question. Cam Newton said in, what did he say, 20 years, flag football is going to surpass baseball in like viewership, like popularity. I tend to agree with that. How do you feel about that? Being you're on the inside of it, how do you feel?
I think it definitely will, because the sport has no gender. It's for everybody. If you want to come out and compete and have a good time, this is a sport for you. I think how it empowers our young women athletes is very important too, to give them a stage and platform to do something new, to get international recognition as well. I know a lot of other countries, especially in Europe, are playing the sport too. They do co-ed teams as well. So I think it's a great way for the sport to grow and people continue to get recognition for it. I think the competitive spirit of it and the safety of it makes it easier than regular American football, that when you grew up playing and coaching and watching on TV, the excitement level was different because you really had to strategize. You truly know if a player is being successful because they're coached well, they prepare well, and they know how to defeat their opponent, and they're really well read.
Let me ask you this. You're coming into the season. Actually, it's probably going to be different. It's going to be different going forward, obviously. But I believe the first season of the program was last season, correct? Am I right? Or was it the season before?
Yeah, last season was our inaugural season. Yes.
Walk me through like that first practice, like how what you had to, like what were your expectations coming in, and how were those expectations met or not met, and how did you have to adjust?
To be very honest with you, I didn't plan on being on the staff. I actually walked through the gym one day on my way to the weight room and seeing the young ladies trying to run 40s in the gym. So I was like, wow, that's interesting. That's cool. And I'm starting to see like their form is a little off. Some are standing like wide receivers. Some are standing like running backs. So I was like, hey, can I help you? And they was like, sure. So, watching them develop from not knowing how to do a 40 time to seeing our girls in their first season go 4-4 with a first round playoff bye. And, not necessarily being successful in the playoffs, losing in that round by 1 point in triple overtime. To get into a place where we went 5-3 this season and having a Big 33 representative, having a top 10 offense and defense within the league. It's definitely succeeded my expectations as a coach. My number one goal is for the kids to have fun and then also to learn. If a kid is having fun and being educated around the game they're playing, that's all you can ask for as a coach, right? Besides no injuries, staying eligible, making themselves proud and their families proud. But to be successful with the statistics and the numbers is definitely very humbling as a coach. And it's very appreciative, especially for players like Samaya. And like as she leaves the school, she actually set 5 school records, if it's okay that I share what they are. She
Absolutely.
She has 887 receiving yards in 2 years. She has 3 career pick sixes. She has 7 career interceptions, and she has 12 pass defenses. Pretty good stats for a first-time football player.
Wow. Is that you said this was over the 2 years, right?
Over the
those
2
stats?
years. So in the course of 17 games, she put those stats together.
All right. So I have to ask you this, right? I have to
Mm.
ask you this. If somebody breaks those records, but they started as a freshman, are you going to say there's an asterisk next to it because you did it in 4, what you did in 2?
Nah, ain't no asterisk. The record is the record. And Samaya tell you herself, man, records are meant to be broken. She's just happy to have set the standard. She's a very humble, passionate person. And to be real with you, she would probably train the next person who would be her record. She's up for it now. There's other singers who actually missed out on playing, and she's actually training some kids now who might be trying out for some collegiate teams in this coming fall.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. Speaking of collegiate teams, you actually were able to, well, I don't say you, but your team received some offers.
Yeah.
And some of them offers have been accepted, correct?
Yes, they have. Yes, they have.
So I'm not going to ask you to name people or anything like, that'd be up to you, but just to give us some of the schools.
Okay. For sure, definitely Newman University and Eastern. Samaya officially has committed to to Newman University as in the Big 33. That was part of the weekend too. So she officially committed to Newman University. She'll be playing there as well. We have 2 more young ladies. Their name is Sydney and Angela. They will be attending Newman University and they'll be walking on to the flag team.
Okay.
And then in regards to Eastern University, we have 2 committed players. Our quarterback, Amira Thomas, and then our cornerback and wide receiver, Sarai Moore, both are committed to Eastern University this fall.
That's awesome, man. That's all in 2 years, 2 seasons.
2 seasons. And all that was based off of 1 season of tape. This season just put the icing on the cake for them to officially get to receive the offers.
Right. So what's that telling y'all kids? Make sure y'all get y'all stuff together. Get right by junior year. Because you may not have a chance to send that senior year tape. Make sure them grades are right too. Got to make sure them grades are right. Miguel, did you have anything for Coach Cuff?
No, more so just a comment. Thank you for what you're doing, and your dedication to the sport. And here in the Baltimore end, the Baltimore Ravens and Under Armour, because Under Armour is Baltimore is the home of Under Armour on this end.
Yeah.
So they've expanded to 12 participating high schools this year. So it's like, and then hearing about flag football now going to be in the 2028 Olympics. Do you see any players, that could be participating somewhere down the line outside of, the player you just mentioned?
I'm gonna be biased and definitely say my girl. I do think somebody definitely. I'm gonna be that guy. Listen, she'd be my vote to be an Olympic team, but I will say I don't know the girls' specific names that played for the Baltimore Ravens at Big 33, but they had some very good athletes, and so did the Pittsburgh Steelers teams. And being Eagles fan, I'm a little biased. I'm not really a Commanders fan, but their girls played well too. But I will say
no one here is a Commanders fan, so you're good.
Yeah, I mean, but I will say that the Ravens girls, they had a great receiving core, and the Steelers had an excellent quarterback. She was a hell of a dual threat. She played her behind off, you know what I mean? And she gave the Eagles a lot of trouble throughout the series and in the round robin. But I also want to give a special shout out to Tim Quinn, who was the head coach of Gwen and Mercy girls flag. He actually was the Eagles flag coach for the whole tournament. 2 years back to back, he won the championship. That guy definitely knows his X's and O's and can motivate young women to do well. So he definitely deserves his flowers. And I think if they were to hire people to be on the Olympic coaching staff, he should be someone who gets that recognition and opportunity.
Awesome.
Along with myself, but definitely get
Put me on there too. Put me on there.
Why not? I'll hold the towels. That's cool. I just want to go out and help earn a medal for back home.
I want to ask you this before I let you go, because I think this is a good opportunity for those that may not be familiar with flag football to get a little bit of a better understanding of how the game works. So explain to us the differences between regular football and flag football. Obviously, no pads, it's not contact and all like that. But I know there's different amount of players. There's different things that you have to do and things that you cannot do. So just run us through a few of those things just so we have a better understanding when the Olympics come around. But we're going to have you on again, I'm pretty sure, before the Olympics come around.
I would definitely say one of the biggest differences is like blitzing. So, for instance, in like American football, traditionally you can blitz from the line of scrimmage, whatever. In flag, the player has to be 7 yards off, marked by a rush line and an official. And they also have to put their hand up so the quarterback has to know who's rushing. Now, they could put 5 hands up or all 7 if they want. They just have to be at the distance, and they can send how many they would like to. So I think that's like a big thing that a blitz is identified for you with a raised hand, but you also can disguise it with multiple hands up, different positions and things like that, or not blitz at all. And then also in football, you have the 10 yards to get a first down, and as many first downs to take you to the end zone, you're good. In flag, there's only 3 identified first downs on the initial 20, on the 50-yard line, and then the following 20. So those are the first downs. That's it. So, you're first and 20. If you don't get it, you either got to punt, give it up, or go for it. You know what I mean? So I think it makes your strategy a tad bit different as a coordinator because I got to know spacing, down and distance from an early standpoint. I don't really have 3 downs to play with. I really have 2 to get into the third and short. So, you know what I mean? And then also there's a rush zone. So to prevent head injuries and other problems inside the 10 yards away from the goal line, you can't run the ball. So everybody knows you have to pass. So even if you play action, it doesn't really matter. People are knowing the ball has to go in the air. So those are some things that kind of make the rules a little bit more harder and difficult to strategize against.
Could you, and here I am trying to scheme, could you run a halfback pass in that rush zone?
Yes, you could, but everybody knows it's a pass, so nobody will come up and bite on it because you can't run. So it kind of defeats the purpose. Now you could catch a kid slipping who might be new, and they might not understand the rule in that moment. But typically, like the way we coach our defense, and shout out to our head coach and defensive coordinator, Coach Giovanna Wilkins. She does a great job. Make sure the kids communicate, like no rush zone, you know what I mean, things like that. And in regards to special teams, shout out to Coach Rory Dillard. He made sure that our punts are already sent off very well, directional punts, so the way girls who are more talented may not get the opportunity to run back against us, ensuring that our best 7 flag pullers are on the field at all times when we're defending our goal. So I do think it's a lot of different strategies people don't really think about because it's like, oh, it's just flag, go get it. But not everybody can pull a flag. Not everybody can pursue well. Everybody can catch the ball. You know what I mean? So it's like the little nuances of the game you have to add into it that makes it special.
Yeah, I just learned 2 things. I learned more than 2 things, but 2 things stood out just now. You said your best flag pullers. You didn't say like the best D-back. You said your best flag puller. Like that's gotta be, you have to have a skill with doing that too.
It's a hard skill.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Now is there a strategy to it? Because I mean, when I played in gym, it was just like they were Velcro, so I don't know.
Yeah.
They could just fall off. But is there a way to do it?
Yeah, I mean, not to give too much free games. I know some other flag coaches listening, hopefully, but we try to help our girls just keep their eye on the target. The same way you would line your hips up near knee and near shoulder to tackle on regular football. I teach the same technique: near knee, near hand. Try to use 2 hands to reach for the flag. The higher up the flag, the more room you have for error. So that way, in case you do slip down, you got more room to grab and choke on the flag and pull it. Another tip is we always tell the girls the ball is also considered a flag. So there's no actual fumbles in flag football. The ball hits the ground is considered a dead ball, and the play stops there to prevent injuries. So that's also considered another flag as well.
I didn't know that either. I didn't know that there was no fumble. And the other thing I didn't know that the and I've been to your games and didn't know this, that the first downs are already predetermined. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I did not know that. That's interesting. So you can really start your drive off with like a 1st and 2. But then, wow, that's interesting. Okay, that's great, man. Miguel, you got any last words for Coach before I let him go? Because I know he got work tomorrow.
No, just thank you for your time, man, and the knowledge that you bring, and looking forward to hearing more great stories.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. And if I could just get one more shout out, I just want to tell
absolutely.
all the athletes at Penwood, I really appreciate all the time and love and support they're giving me, allow me to coach them, whether it's boys or girls football. Like, just thank you. I just wanted to say, and then also to the rest of my coaching staff, I wouldn't be here without y'all. So I really appreciate the opportunity of coming on and believing in me. And to all the players that are graduating, underclassmen, just know your best years are ahead of you, and there's a lot more work to be done, and we're going to be very successful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Coach Cuff, thank you very much for joining the Check Swing podcast and really just educate. Miguel may have knew that stuff, but I didn't know a lot of that stuff, and I've been to the games. So I'm now I know I want y'all to just have a practice so I can look and see what some things to look for now.
You can call that's the first down.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Hey, no doubt, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate both of y'all, man.
Absolutely. Coach Cuff, Penwood, girls and boys football, girls flag football, boys regular football. I used to call it regular, just padded football. I don't know. I don't know. Rough touch. I don't know. But thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
All right, later on.
Talk to you. That was Coach Cuff. Real good dude too, man. Real good dude, man. Happy to have him on. Happy to have the opportunity to allow him to put that information out there and educate me, because a lot of stuff I didn't know.
Yeah,
So I learned some things.
it's amazing how all the NFL teams like are supporting all these. You know what I mean? Because right now it's 12 participating schools in Baltimore. One of them, of course, including Dunbar, Mergenthaler, Patterson High. You know, so it's like it's covering pretty much most of all corners of Baltimore City. And
It's a great program. It's a great program. I remember, you remember Angie, that she sent me some pictures, I think, and I didn't even know. Like, she just sent me the pictures, and it was like the Eagles locker room and stuff, and I didn't even know what was going on. And she told me about it, and I was just intrigued. And I'm glad I got the opportunity to catch some of the games, and I've told you before in the show, if you have an opportunity to go check out a game, go check it out, man. It's real. It's a fun watch. It's fun to watch. Like, it, win or lose, it's a fun watch. It's more fun winning, but it's a fun watch. We're gonna keep it moving on the show. Speaking of football, a rule change is happening. Miguel, you want to talk about that?
Well, it's not necessarily a rule change yet. It's something that's been in discussion about. Everybody credits Mr. Howie Roseman for being the master capologist. But you know how people always wonder, well, how is it that he's re-signing players to big contracts, and how is he staying competitive and stuff like that? But as it turns out, what he does is that he uses what's called void years on a player's contract. So you know how you have, I always use Terrell Owens because this was like the first time that it kind of became known. So he only played for the Eagles for 2 years, right? 2-3 years. But his contract was for 7 years. So
who are you talking about? I didn't catch the name that you said.
Terrell Owens,
Terrell, okay, gotcha.
So I didn't realize that there's guaranteed years, but then after those guarantee years, the rest of the years are what they call void years. So his guarantee was actually only for 4 seasons, and so the last 3 years you can technically void, but there's a way that it can count against you know how you hear the term dead cap money or whatever. So what you could do is actually put it on the cap, and then it would count less on your cap than it would. It's kind of convoluted, but long story short, they're talking about possibly in the next CBA talks doing something different with the voidable years and actually having it count differently on the cap, which means that Howie would have to come up with a new scheme to kick the can down the road when he wants to re-sign players or when he signs players through free agency. So it's not a rule change yet, but it's something to take a look at because pretty much Howie Roseman has been using the trick of voidable years to kick the can down the road.
So does that mean nobody else has been doing that? Like that's something that everybody is capable of doing, correct?
Here's the thing: everybody's been capable of doing it. He's the one that exposed the loophole and has been using it to his advantage. You know what I mean? Because again, like how did he sign like all these defensive backs, and then he got AJ Brown and all these draft picks and stuff like how does he do it? But that's the trick. It's the kicking the can down the road using the voidable years. We're going to give you the guaranteed money up front. So like I can literally tell you, I'm going to give you 10 years. 2 years of those are guaranteed. The rest of those years are crap. They're bull crap.
We can let you go at any time.
Right. They can let you go at any time. And football's the only sport that does this. That's why I always tell like my players, like if you're gonna play a sport that you want guaranteed money, baseball, basketball, hockey has a little bit, they start off on a little lower financial realm, but it's still guaranteed. Football's the only sport that if you have a $10 contract that you sign, you're never gonna see all 10 years. Because they can void it after like 2 or 3 after the guarantee.
And I never realized that actually had a term. I just figured that's just how the NFL did business. I never knew that was because you're right. Everybody has done it. You know, I can guarantee you these years. I'm guarantee you, $30 million, 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can guarantee, or I can say, but I'm gonna say I'm signing you to a 6-year, $60 million contract with a $30 million guaranteed.
That's what they did with Fletcher Cox's last like 4 seasons. Remember, every year at Kansas, oh my God, they cut Fletcher Cox. It's like, no, they just gave him some more guaranteed money. Although he made less money, it was actually more real money. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So he had like, and sometimes what they'll do with the one thing I always noticed the Eagles would do is that, like, let's say you're supposed to make $3 million next year, right? They'll say, okay, we're going to give this to you in the form of a bonus because signing bonuses don't count against the cap, or it counts different. It's a hard number, but if it were like, no, that example's too complicated, but basically they would say, okay, well, instead of you getting $3 million next year, I'm going to give you $3 million right now, but you're only going to get $2 million next year. So you actually made $5 million. So it makes it sound like you've actually made more money right now in guaranteed money than your original contract. So that's how they kind of, finagle that. So
I just thought that was just how the NFL did business. That's crazy. I didn't know that was like I didn't know that because I mean it's been happening for a long time.
mm-hmm.
Like people talk about it. Yeah, you got 100 million, you got 10 years, $100 million, but you're only guaranteed 3 of it. So let me ask you this. If this loophole was closed, does this benefit the players?
I want to say it's going to be very situational because it's going to change Goodell says he wants to change the integrity of the cap system, whatever the hell that means, integrity.
Like he has that.
But I think it's designed to benefit the league overall. I think it's going to benefit. I don't think that's going to benefit the player or the team. It's going to benefit the league, meaning that it's going to keep kind of like a control on salaries a little bit better. Now I can't flip it and say, okay, well, let me give you this guarantee money now, and we'll kick the can down later. There's no can to kick. Now what it could potentially do is it'll make the contract shorter. And the players may get a little more guaranteed money up front. Yeah, so there may be a slight benefit. But the owners aren't going to go out and say, hey, I'm going to pay top tier for top tier talent. They're still going to lowball it. So I think it's designed to kind of keep everything kind of cost prohibitive, if you will.
Gotcha.
And keep everything back. It's almost like it's almost like a true salary cap where without avoidable years. So you can't kick the can down the road.
Well, we'll have to keep our eye on that when that comes up. They're always trying to stop something that the Eagles are benefiting from, but can't stop, won't stop. Before we move on, I want to tell everybody, thank you for joining us and hanging with us. If you're hanging with us, just go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe button on the YouTube. If you're on YouTube, share us with your folks, share us with your people, and share us with your enemies if you don't like us. It's all good.
And also, I'm broadcasting. I've been doing a couple of weeks live through my Instagram, and we're getting a couple of hits.
Yeah, I gotta get you to show me how to do that because things are going to be changing soon anyway, so maybe not. But I think you'll still be able to do that. Damn, I gotta find all these graphics. Just thought about that. May not be able to find them. Though sad news out of the NFL last week, I think, or was it last week? Yeah, last week after it was after we had our show last week. Colts owner Jim Irsay passed away at the age of 65. At the age of 65, which is, all things considered, does not seem like the age of somebody to just pass away. But, it's known that Jim Irsay had some issues. So, I don't want to speak on those, but, people, it's known. And you can just look it up if you want to. But, he passed away and, sorry to hear it.
And the Irsay family, because he was bequeathed the team from his father. The Irsay family is very, unfortunately, unpopular here in Baltimore because, for those that don't know, the Baltimore Ravens came about in 1996, but they used to be, or they were an expansion team. But the Indianapolis Colts used to be the Baltimore Colts. Mm-hmm. And they were famous for, in the middle of the night, leaving the city of Baltimore for Indianapolis because the owner and the mayor couldn't come to an agreement on funding for a new stadium. They would not agree to repair Memorial Stadium at the time, which was, and there was a whole. You can see it online that the city was trying to change the Baltimore court, or trying to get the Baltimore Colts to stay via eminent domain, and it's a whole big mess. But so I don't think there's any love lost, unfortunately, here in Baltimore for the Irsays.
I didn't realize that Jim Irsay was the owner then. I didn't realize that.
No. So his father was the owner.
Oh, his father was the owner then.
His father was the owner then, and he took over once his father had passed. But it's just
the family owned it.
Yeah, the family owned it. So.
They put everything on that those Mayflower trucks and moved smooth out of Baltimore, didn't they?
Yeah, at the beginning of a snowstorm too. It was all
snow. And people always say they did it in the middle of the night. And I know what I say because it's almost like they snuck out. But people knew that it was a possibility, right?
Right. So there was a whole documentary that I watched about it. Mm-hmm. They had been threatening to leave for, I think, over the course of a year. And it came down to, kind of dollars and cents, but there was like a backdoor deal, I think, between Indianapolis or Phoenix. I think that's what they were looking to possibly move. And I think there was one final meeting between like the mayor's office, the state, the city, everybody got together. And he's like, all right, well, I won't leave without saying anything, without getting one final deal on the table. And on his way out, he's like, we're out. So he left, did not go to the promised meeting, and then that was that. He left he already left with a stadium deal in hand, guaranteed concessions, prime location in downtown Indianapolis. So he was negotiating the deal while negotiating with Baltimore. So that's why there's always that bad blood between.
So he had his fallback plan.
Right.
Had his fallback plan ready.
And one day, hopefully, not tonight, but we'll talk about, that's kind of similar to what happened to the Brooklyn Dodgers and the New York Giants.
Okay.
So
I kind of know a little bit about the Dodgers.
Right.
I may have heard something about the Giants. I knew somebody that was a New York Giants fan, New York baseball Giants fan, because of Willie Mays. So I believe they may have told me about it, but I don't remember either one of them.
So I'll just leave a nugget here. The Brooklyn Dodgers would not have left Brooklyn if there wasn't a deal from New York to leave already.
If there wasn't what?
If there wasn't a deal from New York to leave 2 years later. Brooklyn would not have left without the New York Giants. They couldn't do it. Because the one thing that you need in any sport, whether it's wrestling, fake sports, whether it's boxing, you need a rival.
Right.
Rivals generate revenue. So, but I'll leave that nugget there.
So the Giants needed Brooklyn to come out there with him because there was nobody else out there with him.
So Brooklyn left first.
But what I'm saying is, had the Giants, because you're saying Brooklyn would not have gone had the deal not been done for the Giants to go. The Giants would have needed Brooklyn to go because they would have been the only team on the West Coast.
Right.
And Brooklyn needed the Giants to go as well, which they were already set to do because they would have been the only team on the West Coast.
And they were both fighting for stadium. They wanted a new stadium. Brooklyn wanted something in downtown Brooklyn. The only guarantee was where the Mets wound up playing at Flushing, New York. And people don't realize that either that the Mets colors are blue for the Dodgers and orange for the Giants. So that's when the New York Mets came out as an expansion team in '64 in honor of the missing New York teams.
I did not know that part about the Mets. I did not know that. I'm learning a whole bunch of stuff today. All types of stuff. All right. We're going to talk about the basketball player, but I'm not going to do that. I don't feel like putting that bad business out there. It's been a good day.
Isn't he a former raging alcoholic? All right, we'll bring it up.
I'm not even going to do that to him. So I'm going to take it out the whole dog.
He's like, remove that from the chart.
Yep. I'm not going to do that to him. But the NBA playoffs are going on right now. The playoffs have been great, even though I haven't really caught that much of them. I've been able to catch highlights. Highlights are always great, right? But when you hear the story about how these games are going down. So one day last week, I was at a graduation in West Virginia. Shout out to my nephew, Eli, graduated from Nitro High School. I was watching one of the games that we were out at wherever we were out eating. I'm not even gonna put the place out there, but we were out eating and they had the game on and it was a blowout. So that was like the only game thus far in this round of playoffs that's really been a blowout. All the games have been pretty close and exciting, and a lot of them come down right to the last second. So if you haven't been checking them out, and I'm talking to myself, need to check them out. Need to check them out because the conference finals are always great. I don't care what anybody says. Conference finals are always great. In every sport, the conference finals are always great.
Yeah.
We have some videos to share. And this first one, I'm going to let you introduce it while I get ready to put it in.
All right. So I wanted to say what you had said off camera, but obviously, this is a reputable show, so we can't use such harsh language. So long story short, this is college baseball playoff time. So and softball. For those that are not fans of college baseball is like intense, and I think you would agree too, Justin. Even college softball, I love watching college softball. I think it's enjoyable.
Absolutely, it's fun. It's fun to watch.
But this particular night, there was an instance where two teams, Sanford College and Mercer County or Mercer College.
Take your time.
Take my time. All I'll say is that there was some taunting going on, and it kind of sets the stage for the discussion on rules and sportsmanship, I'll say. So if you can please play that one.
That one's ripped to straightaway center. Brown will watch it go.
Oh, boy.
as excited as you see the Sanford dugout, that is how upset the Mercer dugout is.
Yep.
So you can play the second one.
You said what?
You can play the second one.
It took no time at all for Mercer's coaching staff and Craig Gibson to jump up and protest. Now, the ball is absolutely ripped.
But when you start skipping and going to the side right there, you're going to. Yes, right when he starts, that's where he's skipping at him. Yeah.
Mercer has taken their.
So, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
All right, so I will say this, okay? Let them have fun. You know, I think the celebration is a little much. The NCAA rule actually talks about, you know, unsportsmanlike and things like that. It's up to the umpire's discretion whether to warn or eject the player, but it actually states that, you know, there should be warnings given first and then ejections if it's excessive or too excessive or it happens multiple times. Mercer took their team off the field because they believe he should have been ejected. Okay. My whole thing is, you can be pissed off all you want about the celebration, but don't give up a 420-foot home run to deep center field too. So
I definitely agree with you though on that. For sure. I definitely agree with you on that. If you don't want to see somebody celebrate, don't give up the home run. The celebration itself, I didn't have that much of a problem with, right? I wouldn't want one of my guys to do it,
right.
But I really didn't have that much of a problem with it. But let me tell you why. That celebration was not, and I don't know for sure, but in my opinion, just by watching the celebration, that celebration was not isolated. If you know what I mean. Like that was, there may have been some trash talking back and forth during the game or during the season because that was conference tournament.
A lot of trash talking in college, a ton of it.
Oh yeah. So I'm not saying it was warranted, but I'm not saying, but what I am saying is I don't think it was isolated. And I think the umpires probably knew that.
Right.
Because I'll just say it. A lot of times, you know, you see somebody like that celebrating like that in baseball. Let me change the way I said it. Not accustomed to seeing somebody like that celebrate like that in baseball, and there are Puritans of the game that would not like seeing that and would toss you quick, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm actually kind of surprised that they didn't toss him, but the fact that they didn't toss him and it didn't even look like there was a warning or anything.
So there
was something behind it.
Right. So apparently, and I'm just reading up on the follow-up, the Southern Commissioner was actually at that game and actually came down and talked to the umpires while everything was going down. So Gupton and Fry, who was the shortstop seen kind of chasing after him, were ejected after a video review. And both coaches were also thrown out, with Sanford assistant, Mercer pitching coach also receiving ejections. And also, and I saw a clip of it, but I couldn't find the video of it. The shortstop's mother was thrown out because she was seen standing on the dugout and jumping and hooping and hollering after she learned that her son was ejected.
So, first of all, let me the umpires are dead wrong. Umpires are dead wrong in that situation.
But see, that's not the umpire's call. That's the commissioner's call.
Right. You're right. But the umpires are the ones that got to say you're ejected, right? Or did the commissioner get out there and say you're out of the game, you're out of the game, you're out of the game? Mm-hmm. Because it's the umpire's discretion.
Right.
By the rule
by
of
the rule, yes. By the
NCAA, which is the governing body over that commissioner of that conference. Now, I know sometimes these umpires are conference umpires sometimes.
Right.
So I don't know what that situation might be. I don't know if that commissioner is in charge of it. I don't know. But if it's the umpire's discretion by the word of the rule, by the governing body overhead of everything, over top of everything, then none of those guys should have been thrown out. And that's all I have to say about that.
At the end of the day, Sanford went on to go on to the Southern Conference Championship game. So.
And those guys that were ejected can't play in that championship game, can they?
Usually there's a suspension, automatic one game after an ejection, I believe. So I have to look at the rule. But usually you're automatically suspended.
I'm interested in watching that championship game to see if the bench players pull it out. Now so we got the next video is, you say, what are the odds?
All right, so I know like there's certain things that happen in sports that like are 1 in a million chances, right? So you're gonna watch back-to-back home runs, and I want you to identify what the odds are that this could ever happen in a billion attempts. So
did it go into the same seat?
This ball crushed to right. Will it stay fair? Get out of town! Solo shot off of the foul pole. 1-0 Arizona.
I'm kind of scared where I was going with that one.
Yeah. Guzman hits this ball down the left field line. Get out of town! Foul pole to foul pole.
I see you right there, Cole.
We played a lot, called a lot. You ever seen that?
Not in my career.
Back to back. Right field foul pole. That one off the screen.
That pitcher will forever have the story to tell of, man, one time in a college game, I gave up back-to-back home runs, and one was off the right field foul pole, the other one was off the left field foul pole. How many people could have that story?
And it's going to be played forever on YouTube. This is forever storage.
Forever. He'll be able to prove it. He'll be able to prove it.
Here we go.
So you got another one here, one-handed.
This one goes out to my players who complain about not being able to hit. If this guy can do it, you can do it. It's real cool.
Let me see that one more time. Hold on, I'm going to see that one more time. Hold on. I played it for that third time. I wanted to see if I could tell if it was him that said "see ya." I wanted to know.
I think it was the person recording it.
I want to play. I'm trying to catch something in the beginning. Okay, go. See ya. Miguel,
yep.
You and I are baseball coaches.
Yes.
you and I, we've been coaching for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have we had to say 2 hands on the bat? How many times have we had to say it? Probably 1,000,006. This guy's defying everything we teach.
Well, I mean,
not only is he making contact, he's putting it out with one hand.
You know what I like? I changed a little bit. I'm a little more lenient on it, only because if it works for you, then that's for you. But it doesn't work for a lot of them at this age. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and when I think about it, this guy's probably been doing that with one hand for a while, so
yeah,
he's probably got it down. He's
watch
probably got it.
Watch all my guys try to emulate that now.
I know, right? He crushed it. It looked like he crushed it, but so the next one, this one hurts my heart.
All right, yeah, this one's a little hurt of the soul. This is the final at bat in the SWAC championship, as Andre Martinez is 2 out, 3-run home run to straightaway center in a walk-off come from behind 11-9 win over FAMU in the championship game of the Southwestern Atlantic Conference baseball tournament this past Sunday in Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama.
2-0. High drive to center field. Back to the wall. It's gone! Bethune-Cookman wins the SWAC with a walk-off home run from Andre Martinez.
Do I need to explain what feast or famine means? They just saw it. Bethune's not a team that's going to score 1 run. They were going to do extra bases. And wow.
So, Mr. Coach Justin, I guess you can explain the reason for your opinion on this one.
Well, yeah. So, it's well documented that I participated in intercollegiate athletics at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. Go Hawks, Hawk Pride, catch it. And I played against both of those teams because we were in the same conference. However, we were not in the SWAC conference. We were not in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. We were in the MEAC. We were in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. And it's sad to see those two teams that moved over to the SWAC playing for the championship in the SWAC. So they're dominating. And knowing that there's no more MEAC baseball because of the teams that left. So when I let's just explain like this. When I was there, Miguel, Dell State, Coppin State. I'm just talking about baseball, not all this.
Okay.
Dell State, Coppin State, Howard before they eliminated their program.
Mm-hmm.
Eastern Shore, Norfolk State, North Carolina A&T, Bethune-Cookman, and FAMU.
Wow.
A&T, FAMU, and Bethune all left.
Was Southern in that conference? Was Southern in the MEAC too?
Southern's in the SWAC. They were already in the SWAC.
Right.
So they all left the conference for football reasons, really. Along with other schools. And then there's no longer a MEAC baseball conference. They play in the NEC, the Northeast Conference, with like Quinnipiac and I think Central Connecticut State, maybe, with those teams, all those teams out there. So rest in peace, MEAC baseball. But wow, shout out to Bethune. They're going back to the tournament again.
If it's any consolation, Coach Justin, at least
it's not.
Okay.
It's not. Because it would have happened whether it was a MEAC baseball or not. So it's not.
I was going to say they're facing Florida State Seminoles in the first, on Saturday, so they're probably going to get pummeled.
I mean, they've probably played Florida State in the first round. I don't know how many times. Florida or Florida State in the first round. I don't know how many times. Just because that first round is more region based. So, oh boy. All right. So what we got next?
All right, you want to go damn or dummy?
We'll go damn.
We'll go damn. Okay. So I want you to start the video, but pause it real quick. So, I want now stop it. Okay. What do you think is going to happen next? That's going to make you say, "Damn!"
All right. Can I ask a question? Because I'm thinking, because if I'm I want to say certain things, but I don't want to sound like a smart aleck.
I got you.
So I want to say he's going to throw the ball or he's going to hit the ball. Is there a defensive play about to be made, or is it?
I'll say this: it will be a batted ball.
Okay, so does the umpire get hit in the gonads?
No, I had one that, but no. One more guess. That's it.
So okay, you know what? Did I see this? Does the ball get fouled off, hit the catcher, and then hit the batter? And then hit the umpire?
No, but that does sound amazing. All right, you ready?
I think I saw a video where that happened. Yes, I'm ready.
Do
I have to start it?
Yes.
All right.
Strength of his to this point.
8-pitch at bat, and he drives it into right center field. Everybody on the run.
I did see this. Oh, my Lord.
At the fence.
I did see that.
Isaac Humphrey is down. Kozel ends up at third. They're going to wave him home. It'll be an inside the Parker, but that is secondary to the health in the outfield of both.
Yeah, I did see that. I did see that.
The good news is that everybody is okay. So that is the good news.
I saw that. I saw that in one of my meditative video sessions.
What?
Where you just sitting there, you kind of just scrolling through.
Oh, okay. I got you.
You got me.
I got you.
So yeah, I did see that, and it's cringe. I cringed then,
just
like I cringed just now. I mean, whoo, that was ugly. That was ugly. All right, so now we got a dummy. We
got two dummies. I think the second dummy is probably worse than the first, although the first one is a lot of mass. It's just humans doing things.
Okay.
The first one is a minor league game, and you'll hear a familiar name, a former Philly, Mr. Christian Pache. Now you see why he's in the minor leagues. So you can roll.
Didn't he have like 2 good games with the Phillies or something?
He had like 2 or 3 good games. He's a great defender, just can't hit worth a damn.
Right. He was hitting behind Rojas. Right. Okay.
Right.
Now,
so if Rojas wasn't better than him, you'd be still seeing Christian Pache. So I think they're close to the same age. But so yeah, dummy confusion. Let's roll.
The 3-2 payoff. Line drive. Base hit right center field. That one's going all the way to the gap. That scores Garcia. Pache ran into a teammate. Pache ran into a teammate around third base. Is that obstruction? obstruction. He ran into a teammate who was out on the field to celebrate. And the ruling is out. He is out because he ran into a teammate. The game is not over. But now trying to score from third is the runner from first, Weber. But it should be a dead ball. Or is it? No. They say it's not a dead ball. And now 2 runs have scored. And now the ball game is over. I do not believe what I have just witnessed. Pedro Lopez getting the ruling from the umpiring crew. Apparently is not a dead ball when you run into your teammates. And so Andy Weber, who had stopped at third, sprinted home. The Aces are celebrating behind second base. Again, Garcia scored. Alexander ran into his teammate who had come off the dugout at third base. So he was out on obstruction, but apparently it's not a dead ball. And so Weber, who had gone first to third, then scores. The umpires are walking off the field. It is a victory for Reno.
That was a lot. So first of all, why would you be out because you ran into your team? Like, first of all, I think that's a dumb rule. Because if you run into your teammate, like I can see your teammate kind of propelled you,
right.
But if you run into your team into your own teammate due to and it's an obstruction, that's your own dumb fault, or your teammate's dumb fault.
Correct.
You don't have to call me out for that. I'm gonna cuss my teammate out.
but they got lucky because the ball was still alive. So even though Pache was out, he would have been the winning run. But the runner on third behind him scored the winning run. So it was just the second person that scored was the winning run and not the first.
Right, I got you. Okay, so that makes it make sense, but it's still a dumb rule. You run into your teammate, you're automatically.
It's you know how like we're not allowed to touch our like if our players running around.
Yeah.
As a coach, we can't literally help them up, and you know. But I didn't know it was not a dead ball, so that's what helped them.
So had he ran into an opposing team member, it would have been a dead ball.
No, I don't. It would not have been a dead ball. Running into that just would have been it. Well, that may have been. Might have called interference. Actually, it might be a dead ball because when you call interference, it doesn't become a dead ball.
But he also would have been safe. He wouldn't have been out.
Would have been safe, right.
So I guess it wouldn't have mattered. He would have scored game and been over. Right. Gotcha. Okay, so we have another dummy out here.
And this dummy is the Atlanta Braves, and it'll just speak for itself.
Okay.
Out to center. It falls in front of Merrill. Oh no. Did he? And now they're going to get the double play at second base. Wait.
No, he didn't catch it. Eli White thought he caught it.
I was going to say, I was so confused at Eli White returning to the bag. But yeah, that dropped in front of Merrill, and Eli White was confused. I don't know if maybe Mac.
So.
Attaboy, White.
So there you go.
So he thought the outfielder caught the ball.
Correct.
And he was running back.
Correct.
Yo, I'm sorry. I just found something fun. Ain't nothing funnier than sliding headfirst into a base you ain't even supposed to be going to. And then you get tugged out in the process. Like baseball guys are like, yo, what are you doing? Why are you going back there? What are you doing?
Right.
That's something you accidentally doing a video game like I did that night.
I wasn't gonna say that.
Let me just explain to you right now. I was not. Never mind. I was not in control of what was happening there. I don't know. Anyway, he's stumping me today. Come on, man. Really? You ain't got no accolades? He ain't do nothing, man. You got some minor leaguer out here, man. What is going on? What's this, the Bat Boy?
He played for 3 teams.
So he played for Cleveland.
Yes.
Philly.
Yes.
Cleveland, and Philly.
The third team is the Angels of California at the time.
So he played for Cleveland, Philly, and then the Angels, and then Philly again?
No. Yes.
Cleveland.
No.
Philly.
Yeah.
Angel.
Cleveland, Philly. No. California, then Philadelphia, then Cleveland, and then back to Philly.
California, Philly, Cleveland, and then back to Philly.
Correct.
So it's not Cliff Lee.
No. Good guess, though, because of the number.
Yeah, Cliff Lee played in Seattle, right, for a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, you've never given me a person that didn't do any like. Like you were like, I'm gonna get him today. Damn that, he got too many in a row.
So I'll give you more hints. Okay,
Please, because you ain't give me nothing to start with.
So
let me turn the comments off. Hold on, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
He's a second-generation player. Was a second-generation player.
California, Philly, Cleveland, Philly. California, Philly, Cleveland, Philly. Greg Jeffries?
No.
I think we actually had him one time a few years back.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what position he played?
Outfield. And he was
Can you give me like a time frame of the career?
91 through like 98. Wasn't long.
Outfielder, Phillies, 91 through now. So you had Lenny Dykstra. I can't remember. Yeah, all I remember is Lenny Dykstra, Pete Incaviglia, Jim Eisenreich, Bobby Abreu. Did he play in the 90s?
No.
He wasn't in the 90s?
He was drafted in the 90s, but he was drafted by the Astros.
Damn, I cannot remember the Phillies outfielders from back then. This is a tough one here. I'm 33 and 37. Came from Cleveland. Outfielder. No, it's not him. I got it. No, because he has accolades and he didn't play for Philly twice.
Okay.
I was going to say Kenny Lofton.
No. Yeah, he has a lot of accolades. So, second generation. If I give you this one guess, you might get it.
Second generation. What? Okay, so let me ask you this before you say, was the first generation also an outfielder?
No, he was an infielder.
Second generation. Can you give me the nationality?
Really?
Listen, you ain't give me much else.
I'll give you one thing, and it may not help, but I'll give it to you.
Okay.
He's Jewish.
Yeah, that won't help.
When I give you the answer, it'll be surprising that.
I'm trying to think who. So all right, 90s outfield. I'm trying to think. Marquise Grissom played for the Braves. So he wouldn't be it.
If I give you this one guess, you actually may get it. But I'll let you ferment on that a little bit.
Can you give? So was he all outfield, or did he have like a main specific? It's like center, left, or right?
All outfield.
That's why he ain't get no accolades, man. I mean, he didn't make not one All-Star team.
Nope. But he
was he a starter?
No, he was a starter in the beginning.
Oh, you slick. Oh, you slick with this one, man. So we talking about back West Chamberlain.
Ooh, good guess. No. I loved West Chamberlain. I think
Kim Baptiste was an infielder.
Right.
He
was on the 91. He was on the 92 Phillies, not the 93 Phillies.
The 93 is the team that went to the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I always think it was 92. So he was on the 92 Phillies. Milt Thompson?
Nope.
Damn. Yo, I can't. Was he a junior?
Yeah.
I don't remember. Oh, I got it. Doggone it. The former GM, Ruben Amaro Jr.
Got it.
That was a good one.
So
he wasn't on the 93 team?
He was not. No, he came up in 93. There was this whole 92. They made a big deal about trading for him from California. And they're all he's a switching outfielder, and he started. I think he hit like 2 home runs in like his first 10 at bats, and he just kind of fizzled after that. And then they traded him to Cleveland. Was just a part-time player, and then I think they made one last run at him towards the end of his career.
Wow, Ruben Amaro Jr. Yeah, he definitely didn't have many accolades, but he did.
His father was a shortstop for the Phillies in the 60s and was also the first base coach on the 80 World Championship team.
That was a good one. Because it was a good one.
But you got it.
Eventually.
If I would have said, all right, former player, second generation, he's a junior with the same name.
It probably would have still took me a little while.
But you would have
it still took me a while when you did say it took me a while.
I got you.
I couldn't think of any juniors. There were no Phillies played no juniors. But there was.
But that's the other thing. They're also of Jewish faith.
Well, I was going to pop one more thing up into the show, but obviously,
what?
Can't do it because Facebook refreshed itself, and
I
hate when that happens too. But I will put this in there, just interesting nostalgia here, real quick, and then we'll get out of here. This is the 1995 All-Star Game lineup. Check it out.
Was it in Cleveland?
It was in Texas.
Texas, okay.
So you had leading off for the East, or excuse me, the National League, Lenny Dykstra, penciled in there as Len Dykstra, Tony Gwynn, Barry Bonds, Mike Piazza, Fred McGriff, Ron Gant, Barry Larkin, Vinny Castilla, Craig Biggio, and Hideo Nomo starting pitching. They need to put Hideo Nomo on the show.
Yeah.
For the American League, I almost said West. Now I couldn't remember what it was. For the American League, you had Ken Lofton Jr., That's why I thought might have been him. Yeah, Kenny Lofton had Carlos Baerga, Edgar Martinez, Frank Thomas, Albert Bell, Cal Ripken Jr., Wade Boggs, Kirby Puckett, Ivan Rodriguez, and Randy Johnson. Don't ask me why I rolled my R just now. But nostalgia, man, that was a wow.
And that was Kirby Puckett's last All-Star game because I think the next year is when he got hit in the face. He got hit in the eye.
Yeah, I remember he got hit in the eye.
By Dennis Martinez, and then but he actually played the rest of the season, and then the following spring, he was hitting well, and then all of a sudden he woke up and he was blind in his left eye, and he had to retire with the glaucoma. One of my favorite players. He made short, fast players cool.
So I'm looking at this, right, Miguel? And maybe it was because, it was the mid 90s and that was, great time, great age for me, teenage years, I guess, that's always fun growing up. I feel like we don't see all-star game lineups like this anymore.
I see a lot of walks on there. I see a lot of contact. It looks fun. I see people stealing bases in that lineup. You know what I mean?
A lot going on in that lineup.
I see Kenny Lofton leading off with a walk, him stealing second, Baerga moving him up to third, and then Frank Thomas hitting a 400-foot home run.
And but really nobody really being able to touch a Dale Nomo because he throws out of his shoulder.
Yeah, that was the weirdest.
But it was so cool at the same time to see it.
And you know what? National League actually won 3-2.
Guys, look at that lineup. There's home runs all over that lineup.
3-2.
Brian Gant was the DH. How about that? Look, we're gonna get up out of here, man. we over here reminiscing over here. We're gonna get up out of here. We appreciate y'all hanging with us here on the Check Swing Podcast. Thank you to Coach Cuff for joining us and talking to us about Samaya Night and the flag football programs that's going on right now. Y'all, if y'all haven't had a chance to do so, I hope y'all get a chance to check out some of these flag football games that are happening in the spring at these high schools. Fun to watch. It's a good time. Take the family. But with that being said, we're going to get up out of here. We appreciate y'all hanging with us, and we'll talk to y'all next time here on the Check Swing Podcast. Peace out, y'all.